In this video, I'm going to go over how to file your taxes for the first time. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it and the step-by-step process in making it happen. But first, I'm going to assume that you are already having a job, you're employed, you'll be receiving a W-2, and you are not being claimed on your taxes by your parents. We're going to go over a high-level overview of your taxes. We're going to talk about what documents you need to gather to prepare your taxes. And then we're also going to go over your options to actually prepare and file those taxes this year. Now, before we jump into the video, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. If you're interested in learning how to file your taxes for free, then hang out to the end of the video. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So the broad overview of taxes is that the government requires us to pay a portion of our income to them in a tax. And so if you are employed, then your employer is already taking care of a lot of this for you, and they are pulling some money out on a regular basis from each paycheck to pay the government. And basically what's happening is when we go to file our taxes, we are looking at how much money they have pulled from us and comparing what we actually owe to them. And then the difference will actually determine if we're getting a refund or if we have to pay the government additional money. So more often than not, the employer will actually pull more money out on a regular basis, and then you're gonna get a refund because of that fact. So on a broad overview basis, way I look at it is, one, taxes are what we owe the government. And we are just going to be going over which part the government requires us to pay. Two, when you file your taxes, you're looking at what you were supposed to pay. So the actual theoretical amount that you were supposed to pay. And then number three, you look at how much you actually paid, and then you deduct the difference, and the tax refund or tax payment is exactly what you see there. So step one in doing your taxes is gathering all your documents that are required to file your taxes. So a tax year is going to be spanning from January 1st to December 31st. And during that time, you're getting income, you are getting interest, you are buying and selling stocks. If you are a student, you're paying tuition, or there is interest on a student loan, or if you're paying for a house, there is a mortgage or interest or property tax associated with that. And so all these different entities, these banks, these institutions will be giving you tax documents that you can use to file your taxes. Now, like I said, the most common tax forms out there, and for most beginners, these are going to be the ones that are going to affect you the most, is going to be if you are employed, you're going to get a W-2, and that is for your job income. And your employer should supply you with this around the end of January. Another big one is going to be interest income. And this is going to come from if you have a bank account or a high yield savings. So for me, for example, I received a 1099-INT, an interest income from my high yield savings with American Express personal savings before they dropped the actual interest down. But I received one of those because I was making over $10 in interest in that year, so that I had to report that income and then the government was going to tax me on that particular income. Another big one, especially in the day and age that we're in right now, is going to be having to report your stocks, buy and sells. And so if you are using an institution like Robinhood or Vanguard or E-Trade or anything like that, they're going to supply you with a Form 1099-B, which is going to quantify all your buys, sells, your gain and losses for that particular year, and then you can just plug all that into your tax form and they will run those numbers for you. Another one, if you are filing your taxes for the first time, you're probably a student that has a job on the side, and you might actually have a student loan. And because of that, that student loan the institution that you are getting that loan from will give you a 1098E tax form. And within that tax form, that actual interest that you're paying on that loan will be a tax deduction, which will effectively lower your income and allow you to pay a little bit less in taxes. And again, if you're a student and you are paying tuition, then the institution will actually give you a 1098T, which can actually be a tax credit, effectively lowering your income as well. And a credit will actually allow you to have a big change in your refund. So that's really nice as well. And the last big one that most people that will be filing their taxes for the first time is going to be if they are paying any interest to a mortgage, basically. And so if there is a interest that they have to pay, or they're paying property taxes, then your actual supplier of the loan will be supplying you with a Form 1098. If you have your mortgage sold to another company, then you may actually receive 2 Form 1098s, and I just want you to be aware of that so you're not missing out on anything. So those are the most common tax forms that you'll be receiving from these entities, and you should receive all these forms by February 15th of the year after the taxes are due. And so if you don't see those, or if you're afraid that they get lost in the mail, you can actually go online to each one of these institutions, to your bank, to your exchange that you're using, or wherever you're getting your loan, and you can actually pull these and download these forms straight from the website, so you don't have to wait. We don't have to wait for that snail mail to actually go through, and you can start filing your taxes in advance. All right, so the next step is going to be actually finding a way to prepare and file your taxes. And so I'm a big fan of doing it online because it gets rid of a lot of the hassle and the problems and potentially messing up any errors that are associated with doing your taxes by hand and paper. And so a lot of people already heard of these big name places like TurboTax, TaxSlayer, TaxAct, H&R Block, and all those are great options. They give you multiple different options to do a free versus a more extensive tax return that might actually cost money to use their software. But for the majority of people, if they are just doing an income tax return, then they might be able to use these tax softwares to use their free program and not have to even have to pay to file their taxes with the tax software. Also, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about how to file your taxes for free without any of these softwares, then you can actually take a look up here, and I'll put a video at the end as well that goes over how to file your taxes for free every single time. So in the end, I do really recommend using some sort of tax software online. I personally use TurboTax, but in the future, I'm going to be moving towards a CPA because my tax return is becoming a little bit more hard to file by myself. And so if you're going to do something like that, I highly recommend going with a tax specialist because they are going to give you the best outcome and lower chance of being audited. So that is a quick overview of how to file your taxes for the first time, a quick beginner's guide. And if you got some good information from that video, we have some more videos on taxes and how to file them for free, as well as how to walk through specific tax forms up here. And I'll list them right above my head right now. As always, I want to remind you to pinch a little bit.